Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mr. Creatine, and I was gonna tell you guys a different story time today, but I just had probably one of the chillest days ever, so I figured I'd relay that information to you guys instead of doing what I was gonna tell, and I'll just tell you guys that story tomorrow. So let's get into it. This started about how any one of my normal days would start. I woke up, felt like shit, didn't go to school, and I had my buddy Seamus over. And if you weren't on the stream last night, Seamus is basically Stan, but he name dropped himself, so we're just gonna use his actual name on here from now on. Or he might get his name legally changed to Stan. I don't know. That's what he just told me before I started recording this. But anyway, yeah, I had Seamus over last night, and I had woken up and just went and got in the shower. I had texted him to see if he was awake. He didn't answer me. I was like, "Yo, just woke up, getting in the shower." I had no idea what time he had gone to bed, but he told me this morning like 9 o'clock is when he fell asleep, and I'm not talking about at night. I'm talking in the morning, and so he basically didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and yeah, so I hopped in the shower, and then yeah, I was in there for probably like 30 minutes. I take a little longer showers than most people. And then I got out, I got dressed, went to my room, smoked, and played Marvel Rivals for a little bit. Then I proceeded to go out and check on Seamus. He was still conked out. So I went back to my room, started playing video games again, smoked a little bit more, and then, I was getting a little hungry, got the munchies a little bit, so I wanted to go get food, and Seamus was sleeping in, like, my little brother's room, so he wasn't in the same room as me. I got rid of my old mattress, and yeah, so I checked on him again. He was still conked the fuck out, and it was probably like noon at this point. Like it had been a few hours, and I just got my food. I ate, and then eventually my little brother came home, and he wasn't supposed to be home at this time, so I wasn't expecting it, or else I would have woke Seamus up. But he basically went in there and turned on his light, not expecting Seamus to be there, and then Seamus walks into my room and he's like, "Yo, why'd you let me sleep so long?" And I'm like, "Well, I figured if you were sleeping this long that you needed it, so I was just letting you sleep." And he's like, "Yeah, but it was such an awful time for me to be asleep, like just such an awkward time." And I was like, "My bad." And then, yeah, he went and he talked to my brother for a little bit. And then, I ran out of weed, so I started hitting up the plug, Kevin. And Kevin from my previous stories. I'm pretty close with him. And he tells me he'll give me like a gram and a half for $10, which really good deal, by the way. So I went up to my buddy Seamus and I was like, "Yo, we can go get weed from Kevin to smoke later." He's like, "All right, I'm down for anything." And then one of my other friends, who we'll just call Joe, he hits me up and he's like, "Yo, can I come over and smoke? I'll bring some weed." And I'm like, "Honestly, yeah, just come over, hop in my car, and we're gonna go buy some weed real quick, so we're not only smoking just your weed." He's like, "Okay, bet, give me like 10 minutes." So I went outside, I warmed the car up, and then eventually Joe gets here. I go inside, I tell Seamus to come out to the car so we can leave. Then Joe hops in my passenger seat because he just insisted that he be passenger princess. And, I wasn't going to complain. I was driving, and so we departed to the plug's house. And let me tell you, it has been snowing all day. The roads were pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. And somebody was riding my ass the entire fucking car ride up there. And it took me like 30 minutes to get there. And when we get there, we spent like 5 minutes parked next to this lake, and fucking Joe and Seamus thought I was just gonna go whip it into the lake real quick because of where I went and parked at. So it took like Kevin 10 minutes to come out there and give us the weed, and he gave me the weed, I gave him the money, and then we proceeded to just drive back home. And honestly, the roads were getting kind of bad on the drive home, so it's a good thing we left when we did. And yeah, we stopped at the gas station so we could let Seamus go get some money out of the bank. And I went inside and talked to Todd at the gas station. We were talking about times we could hang out and like when we could do things before he left. And yeah, so eventually I went back out to the car, waited for Seamus to get back. He got back. Then we left to go back to my house. And we didn't really do much at my house. We just smoked, played video games. Seamus drank a little because he kind of greens out if he smokes too much. And yeah, so we were just playing Marvel Rivals, all three of us taking turns playing, talking about like who we could run stacks as. I was playing as Psylocke, Joe was playing as Doctor Strange, and Seamus was just kind of feeling out different characters he could play as. And then eventually, like, my little brother had friends over, so they came back and they're like, "Yo, can you give us a ride into town?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck, just let me know when." And they're like, "Well, around like 5 would work." And I'm like, "Okay, just come get me one. I'll go warm up the car and we'll leave." So I'm sitting there, I'm still smoking, and don't smoke and drive. It's not a smart thing to do, and you could probably crash. So, yeah, just don't do it. And, they came back to my room. They were like, yo, it's about 5. Are you ready? I'm like, yeah, just let me go warm up the car. And then we were discussing who was going to go with. And we decided that Joe was just going to stay and continue playing Marvel Rivals because it wasn't a very far ride into town where they were getting dropped off at. And I didn't have like many seats to fit in the car. So Seamus went with me. And then the 2 people I was dropping off went with me. And it was a pretty chill car ride. We were listening to our white girl music. Can't fucking remember which song. I'd never heard it before in my life, but we were all vibing. And then eventually we came back here and just kept smoking a little bit. And then eventually we decided that we were getting a little hungry and we decided to go to McDonald's. And yeah, because we're a bunch of big backed, unhealthy bastards, we proceeded to drive over to McDonald's. And let me tell you, Joe had the greatest plan to roll a joint so we could smoke it in the car on the way back from McDonald's. So that's what we did. He rolled up a J, and then, yeah, we got our McDonald's, went back out to the car, and fuck. Let me tell you, we took longer ordering that McDonald's than, like, we spent waiting for the food. It took us, like, 10 minutes to order our food, and it took them about, like, 30 seconds to bring our fucking big ass order out. And yeah, so we left. We went back to my house. We parked up in my driveway. We started eating, and then Joe lights up this joint, and this was one of the best joints I've ever smoked in my life. It wasn't like a fat ass J or anything, but had some nice ass weed in it. And we were just sitting in my car eating McDonald's, smoking, listening to music, and even Seamus was hitting off the J, and he doesn't even really smoke that much. But yeah, we were all just having a really chill time. I had 20 chicken nuggets and a milkshake. Joe had like a McRib, and God only knows what Seamus had. He got a lot of fucking food. But yeah, we had to be out there in my driveway for at least like about an hour. We were out there shooting the shit and smoking for a minute. Like, we were all just vibing to the music, talking about random stuff. We were talking about like Joe's family, my family. We were talking about like what everyone wanted to do for jobs and shit. Like, just a very good time. We were all having a really wholesome hangout time, and they were even talking to me about my YouTube stuff and like music and shit. And we were all just having a pretty nice night. And eventually Joe's like, yo, I'm gonna go home, lay in my bed, listen to some music. And I'm like, I felt that. Me and Seamus are gonna go back to my house and we're gonna chill out. Maybe might come out here later, who knows. And yeah, and then I came in here, I sat down, I started making this video after like 15 minutes of charging my phone, and now you're basically pretty much all caught up on my day. So if you guys like today's story time, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. It would be really awesome. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. It'll definitely be a bit of an interesting one, so stay tuned.